Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face and welcome back to this McLaren career of Motorsport Manager. Today we are back with part 1 of Season 3. Last time out we finished Season 2. Lewis Hamilton in the end managed to win the championship quite comfortably over Fernando Alonso. It was close into about 10-11 races into the season, but Lewis Hamilton from there on out managed to get a big enough advantage over Fernando Alonso that it was pretty comfortable for him in the end. Whereas in the Constructors' Championship, we knew pretty much all the way through the season that we were going to win it quite comfortably. We won with more than double the points of the next best team, Red Bull, who had a really strong race in Brazil, the last race of the season. Max Verstappen got on the podium in second, Stoffel Van Dorn got into fourth, but the Ferrari's reliability problems seemed to return. Sebastian Vettel, who was on course, possibly he should have won this race, seemed to have a few problems. He finished down in 17th, which allowed Red Bull to get themselves up into second place. Mercedes meanwhile had a really bad season, 5th place, only 171 points, a fair few points behind the Williams Grand Prix team in 4th place. But anyway, we're moving on to the next season. We are going to be having new drivers in both seats this year. This seat will be going to Mick Schumacher, who will be promoted from reserve driver. In this seat we held a vote between Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen won that vote quite comfortably, so he is the main man we are going to try and sign for our #1 seat. So this year we're going to have 2 drivers. Max Verstappen will be the #1 driver, of course. Mick Schumacher will fit nicely into the #2 role, wanting to give him a run out before we end up leaving McLaren, because this is possibly going to be our last season with McLaren. We're also going to go with clear #1 and #2 drivers this season, because over the course of this season I've had a couple of comments saying that we've been favouring Lewis Hamilton, I've been favouring Fernando Alonso. I haven't been favouring any driver over the other. I didn't really mind who won what races, just as long as we were winning races and getting points. So hopefully with clear #1 and #2 drivers this season, we won't get over those sort of comments. But I'm guessing people are going to still be like that with Mick Schumacher in the #2 seat. We'll just wait and see what happens. But anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to get to car repair complete. We're not too bothered about that, right? So let's just move on another day to see what sort of championship money we are getting. It should be over £70 million, I would guess. We've got a Lopez retiring ordinance prize money, almost 75 million going into the bank. So we've got over 86 million now in the bank account. Manager of the season goes to me, Fuzzy Face. After totting up the votes, manager of the season is Fuzzy Face. Driver of the season, let's see if we can work out who would be driver of the season. Daniel Ricciardo in the Williams or Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Van Dorn did pretty well for being the sort of rated driver that he is, that he could possibly be driver of the season. So between those 3 it is actually Stoffel Van Dorn. So surprising that he beat Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo having a really strong season in the Williams car. We've got, as we thought earlier on in the season, we knew Jenson Button would be retiring this season. So Jenson Button at the age of 37 retires. He leaves the Mercedes team after a pretty strong season. He faded off towards the end, 7th place. At the early part of the season he did look to be our main competition, as he won 2 of the early races, one on the podium, but then just totally faded away after that. We've got Prema's chairman retiring, Nicholas Prost retires. He's got one more day and I think we'll get the championship promotion. So 2018 rules now active, which this should say 2019. We're actually a year behind date wise in the game, because we were playing the 2017 mod, but it didn't update the dates in the game. So when we were playing the 2017 season, it had the 2016 dates, so on and so forth. So the next season is 2019, not actually 2018. So we've got Montreal returning, so we're back to 16 Grand Prix this year. We've got short qualifying sessions going from long to medium. Doesn't really make any difference. The big change is the refueling, which should force all cars to stop twice during the race, which is going to be interesting. It might not work out for the lower teams, because I'm guessing they're going to start off on the harder compound tyres no matter what, for whatever reason, when they should be starting out on the quickest tyre compound. But then again, that is not really an option, because we do only have 5 compounds of each tyre. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what we go through and what we can get out of each tyre with the different refueling strategies and so on and so forth. And 2018 promotions, Haas have been promoted back into Formula 1, Russian time are going down, Dragon Racing move up to GP2, whereas Campos drop down to GP3. So other than that now, I think we've got a big gap until we start designing the car. So we'll skip ahead until we go through the new chassis, and we'll come back at that point and hopefully we can get Max Verstappen started and negotiated from there. Right, so we've designed the new chassis. We've actually gone with the Renault engine this season just because they're offering better improvability. There's a little bit of a difference in the base stat modifier. Not much. We do get a discount on the Honda engines, but it's not much. It's about £1 million. So it's not really worth it to take it up, because I do want improvability this season, because fuel efficiency is going to mean less to the car this year, as we can actually refuel the car, so we can do whatever we want to the fuel. We can push it, we can run in high mode. It doesn't really matter what the fuel efficiency is for us. Fuel supplier, meanwhile, we've gone with Shell again, pretty much just because of the improvability. They do offer the higher improvability stat. We want this the highest that it can be, mainly this season, because we're not too bothered about fuel efficiency. Material supplier, we have gone with the most expensive, because we might as well, because we've got a ton of money. We don't really need to do much to the HQ, we don't really need to do much to the car, pretty much, because we're leaving McLaren after this season, so I'm not going to work on the HQ too much, other than possibly building the staff centre, maybe the tour centre, a couple of peripheral things like that. Brake supplier, we've gone with McLaren. Might as well go with our own team's brake supplier. They do offer a very good for tyre heating, and battery supplier as well. We're switching from Honda, since we no longer have the Honda engine. We're not going to use the Honda battery supplier. We are going to be a little lower down starting charge wise, but the harvest efficiency is a little bit better, which is something that we use. Once we got pretty low down with the battery this season, it was a little bit harder to try and recoup it towards the end of the race. So maybe starting off a bit lower, using a little battery once it comes on, and then recouping from there might serve us a little bit better. But we're just going to adjust a few things here so we can get the improvability. I'm just going to knock down tyre heating, but I think we should still be where we are, and we're going to go tyre wear, because yeah, tyre wear doesn't really matter either. So maybe we'll just try and put things in the middle. I think we'll still be in the top third of teams with tyre wear like that, and 3.5 should get us into the top third of teams with tyre heating, and 4.5 improvability. So it's costing us almost 50 million this season. So we've changed a couple of things. It cost us 39 million last season. We've got a lot of money to spare this season because we don't have a lot of big contracts. We saved a lot of money last season because we knew we might have a lot of money to pay out for Lewis Hamilton. We're still waiting for everything here to go into slot 3. Right, so we've skipped ahead a little bit. We're back at pre-season testing now. We've added a little more black to the livery this year, just to try and make it look a little bit different on the track. It's not the nicest thing, and a lot of the liveries don't look that good in this game, or not that I could get going with the orange and black that made it look any different. Hopefully this makes it look a little bit different on the track this year. We do have Max Verstappen as our main driver this year. He does have an equal status car, so he won't mind if his car is a little bit similar to Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher still does have the reserve. Well, it doesn't actually say here. We can't actually get to that bit, but he is still contracted as a reserve driver, so he won't mind if his car's a little bit worse off than Max Verstappen. And we have Nobuharu Matsushita as our reserve driver this year, so we are saving a little bit of money. We are going to be making almost £2 million per race, which is amazing. So we are going to be leaving McLaren at the end of the season, if we do leave, in a really good position. Meanwhile, we'll just have a quick look at what everyone else did with their cars this season. So we'll quickly start with Force India. They have retained Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon in their seats. Haas have got Marcus Ericsson from Sauber, and Ferrucci as well has come into the team, who was the reserve driver previously at Haas. So they've lost both Nico Hülkenberg and Roman Grosjean this year. Not quite sure where they've ended up. I've been avoiding looking where they've gone, so it's as much as a surprise for me as it is for everyone else where everyone has ended up. We have got Max Verstappen and Mick Schumacher. Mercedes, that is where Nico Hülkenberg has ended up, but they've also got Kimi Raikkonen in the seat as well, and Esteban Gutierrez in as the reserve driver. Red Bull, meanwhile, have got Lewis Hamilton and Stoffel van Dorn, so a lineup of former McLaren drivers at Red Bull. And Christian Horner's, no, he's still there, I'm looking at the chairman, wrong way around. And Sebastian Buemi stays on as reserve driver at Red Bull, so pretty decent for Red Bull. If they can get their car up to scratch, they should be competing for a lot of points this season. Renault, meanwhile, have retained Carlos Sainz and Julian Palmer. Sauber have got Valtteri Bottas in the seat. Valtteri Bottas has joined Sauber. Felipe Nasr makes a move up from reserve driver. For some reason, Pascal Wehrlein is in the reserve seat. I'm guessing Sauber. I wonder why Sauber would do that. Is it because Valtteri is not that marketable and they want Nasr who's marketable? No. Maybe they're going just because he's a paid driver and they want all the money from him. Who knows? Maybe that's the reason why. But Ferrari, who Ferrari got? Sebastian Vettel. Antonio Giovinazzi makes a move up. Almost 4 stars now. So Giovinazzi in the second seat at Ferrari, getting the move up. Louis Delatraz comes in as a reserve driver. Toro Rosso retain the same pairing as last season with Pierre Gasly and Danny Kvyat. Whereas Williams have got Daniel Ricciardo and they have demoted Jerome D'Ambrosio. Lance Stroll moves back into the number 2 seat for this season. So Williams should be a lot stronger than last season. They had a good season last season. Lance Stroll, though, the return of the Canadian Grand Prix, comes back with the return of the Canadian driver Lance Stroll in the number 2 seat. So where did Roman Grosjean end up? He ended up at Arden. And Kevin Magnussen has ended up at Art as well. So, yeah, a couple of surprising things there. Not a lot changed. So it should be interesting this season. Mercedes have gone for Kimi and Nico Hulkenberg, both about 4-star rated drivers. So it's going to be between Ferrari and us this year. I don't think Mercedes should put that much of a challenge. They could surprise us if they end up with a really strong car. So we're going to go ahead and run pre-season testing now. See how quick we actually are. We didn't actually do too great in pre-season testing last season, so hopefully we can be a little bit better this season. No, we're still about mid-order here. Mick Schumacher a little bit quicker, so I'm guessing maybe the car, all the best parts have gone into Mick Schumacher's car for pre-season testing because the computer doesn't do a good job of splitting the parts up. It just puts all the best parts in one car. Lewis Hamilton in the Red Bull quickest, Danny Ricciardo in the Williams second quickest. So we're at Ferrari. Ferrari a long way down with Vettel and Giovinazzi as well. Toro Rosso looking pretty strong. Renault, I'm not sure whether that's actually going to carry forward into this season. It would be interesting to see. Obviously we do have new strategy working to think about with the 40kg fuel tanks. And look at that, we do actually have the best car this season. Ferrari second, Mercedes third, Red Bull fourth, Williams fifth. Whereas the drivers, we've dropped down to 4th place overall. So what we're going to do, we need to start working on the reliability of some of these parts. Should we just concentrate mainly on the one car to start with? Should we divide up the car parts a little bit better? So what should we do here? So I'm guessing, yeah, Max has got everything at the moment. So we'll give Mick the better brakes. That makes him happy. Could we give him something else? Maybe the suspension. Keeps him happy. Maybe that's, yeah, I guess that's what we'll do. Keeps everyone happy. Then Max does have the better car. Or should we even them up a little bit more? Could we? If we have 3 parts better in each car. So what should we give? We're giving him the brake suspension. We'll give Max a more powerful car like engine gearbox wise. So should we give him the front wing or the rear wing? I suppose we'll give him the rear wing. That keeps both. Yeah, that keeps both drivers delighted. So I'm guessing that's what we're going to go with this season. Max's is slightly a little bit better. What we'll do is we'll work on the 25 days after the race, after Melbourne. We don't. It's only 11 days to Melbourne. We're not getting a lot of time to actually work on this car to get it up to scratch. So we're going to go engine gearbox. What can we take out? The front wing doesn't take that long to repair. It's the highest one already. So suspension takes a long time to repair. So yeah, 36 days after the race to get even just these parts up to scratch. So, and the engine is a little underpowered this season, so we'll get started on a new engine as well. We'll go plus 20, so we don't have to actually worry about working on getting it up to its maximum this early. Then we've got another 40 that we can put on the car. So we're going to build that engine part. Got any mail? Pre-season testing report. Targets for the 2018 season. Should we aim for first place this year? We don't really need the money. Getting 2.84 from that. What did we get last season? Chairman payments 3.9. Not sure we were getting that much per race last season. Should we aim for first? I don't want to end up fired, but if we do get fired, then we can move on before the end of the season. Should we take the risk? I don't know how quick we're actually going to be. No, because we don't need the money. We won't take the risk. I want to get through this season. I don't want to end up being fired if we keep finishing in third or something. I don't want that to actually be the case here. Let's just see what we're at with HQ. So what I started with the HQ, we're building like all the peripheral parts. We don't really need any of the buildings that are geared more towards improving parts. So we've gone with the staff centre, the tour centre, and we've got the forecasting centre. But the forecasting centre is a long way off. It takes a long time to build the level 3 forecasting centre. But we're a week off the tour centre, or a week off the staff centre. The staff centre does improve some driver traits and some staff bonuses as well, how quickly they improve. So we're just waiting on the reliability here, aren't we? Let's get back. What are we at? What are we at? Almost 56. It's going to be nowhere near, is it? It's going to be nowhere near. So it must be really hard for a lot of these teams where you've only got 2 slots in the garage. Buddy Musician for Verstappen, I think, is already 100%. Because look down, we're almost 97.7% markability wise. I'm going to set one of these offers now. We're going to... Should we aim for first place? Second place? 1.4? What is the one that we get for finishing? 1.3 for third or above, which is the one that we usually set. So we're going to take the bigger upfront payment here. I know there was a bonus for that other one for the United States Grand Prix, but we don't need to worry about money this year, so we're just going to keep it like that. Huge anticipation. So what is the reliability looking like now? Still not even up to 60% on these few parts that we're concentrating on. So we might be able to get Verstappen far enough into the race. Schumacher, on the other hand, Mick's birthday, we'll throw him a party. We'll throw a party for Mick. Right, so we're almost at race day now. HQ, and we've got the staff centre and the tour centre built now. So where are we? Where are we? Can we see the tour centre? There it is. So what does it actually look like on the track? There we go, a nice little fountain outside, and we've also got the staff centre built, which is all the way over here. Tennis courts and the like. So we're going to jump into the race. We're going to accept NGK. Should be making a nice little bit of money if we achieve our goals. Part fitting, both drivers delighted. So as usual, jumping into the first race of the season, we'll run practice qualifying off camera. We'll come back when it's time to go through the grid. Hopefully Max Verstappen is going to be up to speed here. It looks like it's going to be raining for the race. We do have a level 2 forecasting centre, so hopefully we can work around that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in a rainy race now, because everyone does have to think about making 2 stops during the race just for fuel alone. But it's going to be sunny and whatnot before that, so we'll jump into qualifying and practice now, and we'll come back when it's time to go through the grid. So here we go with the grid for the Melbourne Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel, as with last season, overall fastest in the entire grid. First place once again for Sebastian Vettel. Max Verstappen not doing too badly himself though, second in his first Grand Prix in the McLaren car. As you can see, we did Q2 on the soft tyre because we knew it was going to rain. Not quite sure when the rain was coming. I went for the soft tyre hoping that if it rained a little bit later into the race, we could make the soft tyre stretch, whereas a super soft can only go about 3-4 laps. It seems to have worked out because rain is expected about lap 5 or 6, and we should be able to make the soft tyre last until then. So hopefully that is going to work in our favour. Kimi Raikkonen in his first Grand Prix in the Mercedes, or his return to Mercedes. Kimi Raikkonen 3rd place, Nico Hülkenberg his first race in Mercedes 4th place, Mick Schumacher his first ever Formula 1 race in 5th place in the McLaren. For us, Danny Rick in 6th place in the Williams, Van Dorn 7th in the Red Bull. Valtteri Bottas doing excellent in the Sauber, up into 8th place, although a lot of these cars around here, the 9th and 10th, the Toro Rosso, Gasly and the Force India of Perez, lucky to be in Q3 slightly because rain sort of hampered Q2 a little bit. Esteban Ocon in the Force India 11th, Kvyat 12th, and as we can see, Lewis Hamilton got caught out by the rain in the Red Bull. Giovinazzi got caught out by the rain as well in 14th, and Lance Stroll got caught out by the rain in 15th. So maybe Valtteri Bottas wouldn't have been ahead of these three if they'd have managed to do it right, and Valtteri Bottas would have been outside the top 10 in the Sauber. But we'll have to wait for other races to see whether that is the case. Carlos Sainz in the Renault 16th, Felipe Nasr in the second Sauber 17th, Marcus Ericsson in the Haas 18th, Santino Ferrucci in the other Haas 19th, and Julian Palmer in the Renault in 20th place. So I'm thinking this season is going to be between Haas and Renault to go down. Hopefully it's not going to be Haas because we're going to be hopefully taking them over at the end of the season. But if they're down in F2, then we'll have to work with that. But we're going to jump into the race now. As you can see, the rain is coming about lap 5 or 6-ish. Hopefully, we're fueled up to get that far. We are on the slower compound tyre from the start of the race, so we're possibly going to be giving up a few places. We can't really push the fuel too much because we know we haven't got the reliability in the engine just yet. And as last season, as we had Hamilton and Alonso, Verstappen can make his tyres last a little bit longer than Schumacher can. He can do about an extra lap, but Verstappen's down into 5th place here from 2nd place starting off. Hopefully us being able to get a little bit further in the race is going to work out in our favour. We're currently behind Daniel Ricciardo. Schumacher has been overtaken by Hamilton. Hamilton made an amazing start from the get-go there. So can we go high mode on these tyres? How far can these tyres actually get us into the race? 6 laps. So we can actually go into high mode and try and get a little bit of heat into them. But as we can see, Schumacher cannot get these tyres as far, so we cannot put him into high mode. We just want to look at it, and we're going to go high mode on the fuel. Is everyone else doing that? I know a few of the other cars are actually still pushing at the moment, so maybe we should still push to try and keep up with them. We want to keep Verstappen as close as we can. We've got some boost now to fight off Hamilton. We've got some boost now to keep Schumacher in touching distance. We're going to hold on to the boost, should we? No. Try and get to Danny Rick. We'll try and catch him up, but he's got a lot of boost left himself. So 5th place, not too bad here. 4.5 seconds behind. We're just wanting to get far enough into this race, because as we can see, these soft tyres are going to go before, and they're going to be on the wrong tyre compound. It looks like the rain's going to last till the end of the race as well. We just want to hang on here, is all we want to do. We want to be somewhere close that we can get into the pits and now into the lead. Meanwhile, we're now going to go medium. It gives us 3 laps after this. Should see us through until rain comes. Max Verstappen, now that we've turned down, we're seeing the quicker tyres come into play. Especially with Lewis Hamilton in this first race in the Red Bull. Up into 5th place at the moment, so it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a harder season this season. Hopefully once we've upgraded the engine, we're going to be a little bit stronger this season, but we're a little bit further down than what we were last season, although a lot of our luck early season before we fully upgraded the car was down to reliability issues from a lot of the other teams. And these tyres, Vettel's tyres, are about to go, so he cannot go much longer. Schumacher's getting pretty close to his drop-off rate here, so we might have to go conserve with him to make sure he can get through to when the rain starts. Verstappen, though, looking like he's in a decent position here. Try and keep up with Hamilton, keep Schumacher ahead of Van Dorn in the other Red Bull. So it looks like we're battling Red Bull at the moment this season. We've got Red Bulls at either side of us. We're 10 seconds down at the moment. Is Vettel going to try stretch out? No, he's coming in. What's he going to put on his car? What is Vettel going to put on? Vettel comes back out. We're going to see him. He's gone for it. No, they're going intermediates. Vettel's in the pits. So Vettel's still in the pits, but we see a lot of these cars already going on to the intermediates a lap too early. So Schumacher is going to have to come in this lap. His soft tyres are just about gone, so he's going to have to make the switch. We'll fuel up to the top. I think we're going to have to make a switch with Verstappen as well, because the fuel's just about there. But we've managed to go just as long as these other cars. Hamilton's done a really good job hanging on to these. No, that's because he was outside the top 10, wasn't it? He started the race on a really fresh pair. So 0.4, we are going to have to come in this lap, aren't we, as well with Verstappen. We possibly pushed the fuel a little bit too much, as we could have gone another lap, but the rain is coming, so we're on to the intermediates. We have changed. We've got the fuel up to 7. We're going to try and go as far as we can on this intermediate set of tyres. But it's going to stay till the end of the race, so we can actually push through these intermediate tyres a little bit, can't we? We're going to push into the pits, push out of the pits. So we're going to have to double stack slightly. So where are we going to filter back out here? I want a decent pit stop. Verstappen back out, 4th place. Hamilton and Stroll have stayed out in the wet. Schumacher, meanwhile, has a good pit stop himself. He's back out in just in front of a Sauber. Right, so we can actually push on these tyres now. We'll get pushing on these. I'm just going to high mode a little bit. won't do anything with the fuel at the moment. So we're chasing down Kimi Räikkönen, who's been on this intermediate for a little while, so we're a lot fresher than him at the moment. Although we're still falling behind. He's in a really strong Mercedes car. And something's falling off the front wing of Schumacher. What is that? His front wing's going down. It should last until the next pit stop, however, so that's good to know. Verstappen, 4th place. Hamilton and Stroll coming into the pits this time, so let's boost. Let's use a little bit of fuel. We're going to get past him, up into 2nd place for Max Verstappen. Vettel is all the way down in 13th. Schumacher managed to get into 5th place as well. That's brilliant from him. He's on a little bit of his boost. We won't go that far in front. And what have we got left? Just about the halfway point of the race at the moment. Just have a quick look at what this livery looks like in game. It looks a little bit different to last season. We've got a half orange and half black driver this season. So I don't think we've got much chance of catching Kimi Räikkönen in the Mercedes. He's having a really good race. He's going to be getting in for a... Yeah, his intermediates are going. We could possibly push a little bit more, couldn't we? We'll go high mode. We'll try push. It's tipping it down out here. Can we change onto wets? No, 'cause it's not even suitable for wets at the moment. Max, what are you saying? Right, so we can really push these tyres. Right, let's see if we can just catch Kimi here. The Mercedes looking really strong this season. We do have a lot of tyre that we can push through. Obviously, they're going to get really hot. And we do have fresh pairs of inters that can do about 10 laps. So we're going to be on a really fresh pair of inters as well. But so is Kimi pretty soon. But yeah, we're just going to push whilst he's on his warm pair of intermediates. We're going to push at this point and try and cool stuff down from here. Schumacher up into 5th place at the moment. We'll use all of our boost to get as close as we can to Kimi Räikkönen. Schumacher is 3.5 seconds behind Lance Stroll in the Williams. Hopefully Kimi's got some problems with his car. Probably hasn't. Yeah, he has got problems with his car as well. So Kimi dives into the pits this lap. We've got 2 laps to go. We can go another lap and a bit, can't we? Schumacher, meanwhile, 3rd place. Is Kimi going to come back out onto a dry tyre? No, he does an intermediate. Sometimes, if it's suitable for the dry tyre, the AI puts them on, even though it's not going to be suitable for that tyre in a lap or two. It looks like PlaySport have managed to fix that at the moment. But we're in the lead. Van Dorn just between Verstappen and Schumacher. So a lot of reliability problems still for these cars. We know we've got some reliability problems with Schumacher, but it looks like the car is holding up just about. So if we don't push this car too much, we should be able to hold on long enough. Max's is a little bit lower, the engine going, but 24% should see us through the last couple of laps. We are going to have to pit for fuel. What do we need to fix here? Right, let's just change the tyres first. We do need another pair of inters. That will see us through to the end of the race. Should we fix the front wing? We're not going to be losing any places. Why, if we fix the engine, how come we're coming out further in front? Is it worth it to do the engine? I don't know. I don't think so. It's going to cost too much time to do the engine. We'll do the front wing though. We will do the front wing. Rear wing, 6 seconds. It's going to cost a lot of time, isn't it? Should we go ahead and fix them? I think it's strong enough to get to the end of the race, but let's just watch what's happening for a second. Right, front wing. We'll decide. We'll try and get round. Right, so Schumi's front wing's going as well. So what are we ahead here? Kimi Räikkönen has sort of caught up at the moment. We're going to end up being behind him if we fix the parts. So it doesn't look like Räikkönen actually fixed the parts that he needed to. He's still got problems with his car. Can we make this front wing go to the end of the race? I don't think we can make Schumacher's go. But if we don't push the car, can we do it? Should we start another lap and see if we can do it? What is Räikkönen doing? He's falling behind. Has he really got problems with his car? Because he's really falling off, isn't he? So if we go another lap here, then we'll know whether we actually do need to fix them or not. Because we're far enough ahead, look. And Ocon is far enough behind now. So we can get in and fix the front wings, I think, and still be out in first place. Right, so we do need another pair of intermediates. We don't need that much fuel. That should get us through to the end of the race. We can fix the front wing, although it looks like it would hold together, but we might as well make the change. Although, is that going to hold up? No, it shouldn't hold up, Mick. Right, another pair of intermediates will fuel enough to get to the end of the race. Park condition will do the same. Going to be hard, but can we keep it here? Are we going to be able to get out? Right, so Verstappen is going to dive into the pits here. Can he get back out before Schumacher comes? Yes, he can. He's still got problems with the rear wing and with the engine, but we're not going to push anything at all. We're out into first place. Schumacher, meanwhile, is he going to get back out into second? Yes, he is, with quite a nice big gap as well. Ocon is in the pits, is he? Ocon must have been in the pits as well. He's falling behind. No, he's just falling behind. What is Ocon doing? What's happened? No, he's broken down as Ocon. So we're first and second here. It looks like we're just going to be able to get to the end of the race like this. So should we turn down the engine? No, we're going to be able to get through to the end of the race. It looks like we could have possibly done it, and we're getting that's Giovinazzi trying to one-lap himself. We're just going to go to the end of the race here. We'll push the battery. Might as well. Schumacher is gaining on Max Verstappen here. Right, the rear wing looks like it's about to go, but we're coming up to the final lap. Is it going to last? 9%. Parts going all over the place, but one more lap to go. We should be able to get it far enough into the race. Final lap. We're far enough ahead just to make sure it doesn't go. We'll go backup mode on everything. Just as we were doing for Schumacher to make sure these parts didn't go, like the gearbox and stuff. We don't want to push the car too much. I think running in lower modes does look after the car a little bit more. We've got enough of a gap that we can just get both our cars home like this. So first, Schumacher now coming round. We'll use his little bit of a boost over the line. Schumacher comes across the line in second place. So first and second there, due to a few reliability problems from the other cars, but Verstappen was looking quick enough. He was slow in the early going because we were on a slower compound than a lot of the other cars, in that we were trying to make it last for the rain. But a lot of these cars, once again, still having reliability problems. Vettel, outside the points, had to do 3 pit stops. Raikkonen had to do 3 pit stops in the end in the Mercedes, finishes in 6th place. Hulkenberg did pretty well. He also did 3 pit stops. 2 pit stops. No, it didn't look like Hulkenberg had to fix any of his parts, and Van Dorn in the Red Bull. But Sergio Perez in the Force India gets onto the podium. So I don't think there will be any problems with the car this early in the season. So there we go, 43 points from the first race of the season. Max Verstappen, Mick Schumacher doing brilliantly. Mercedes second this season. Ferrari didn't score a point at all the way down at the bottom with Sauber and Toro Rosso. Where did Bottas come then? Where did Bottas come? 14th for Valtteri Bottas. Force India 3rd. Red Bull 4th. So a pretty decent Grand Prix overall there for us. The reliability problems of the other cars, pretty much the reason we were able to do so well even. Morale boost for finishing on the podium. Oh no, for being the race winner. Schumacher doesn't get a boost for being on the podium though. And we came first overall, so £2.5 million going into the bank account. Excellent amount of money there. So anyway, a pretty decent race overall there. A good 1-2 for us this early in the season. Obviously, reliability problems for the other cars, a big problem for them. 2 drivers fighting away. Any thoughts on giving no? I'll just say no, as we always do to that one. So anyway, a good start to the season. That is part 1 in the books. Ferrari looking strong, Mercedes looking strong. Reliability problems though, we know we are slower than them at the moment. We do need to get this engine up to scratch. So should we get started on another new engine as well, so we can go plus 20 this time? This one's a bit risky, so we'll go for this one, 1295. Hopefully this can get us a little bit higher. If the new engine gets a little bit higher, it did. We were down here somewhere before, so we've improved there a little bit. So hopefully we're going to be up to scratch engine wise pretty soon. The car in all the other areas is pretty much the best car on the grid, so we just need the engine to be where we want it to be, and we will be competitive all the way. Even Schumacher can get himself up the grid in qualifying a little bit as well. But anyway, we've got Shanghai coming up next, so nice start to Season 3. Leave a comment down below, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. But until next time, I will see you down the road in China, and goodbye.